Okay, hi guys. I'm just doing a quick test for my own curiosity to find out the best optimum image stabilization options when using the GH5 and the Canon 70-200 2.8 Mark II lens. Now this is a lens I use a lot with this camera. Note it's got the XL speed booster in between them as the adapter. Now this is a setup that I use quite a lot, and I often use it at its longest reach, and I often use it in bad conditions, high wind, all that kind of stuff. Even though I'm generally always on the tripod, it's high wind on the top of a cliff, and you're going to get some shake anyway. So the IS really comes into play. Now, as you know, the GH5's got great IBIS. This lens has got great image stabilization built into it. You can't use it in conjunction. You can't use it, as far as I know, you can't use them both together. You need certain Lumix lenses in order to have dual IS going on with the GH5. So firstly, you have to choose between which image stabilization you want. Now that's not apparent if you're hunting through the menus and you're not too familiar with this setup. That's not apparent, so I'll explain how you choose between the image stabilization of the lens or the camera. And secondly, I want to do some quick tests and then figure out which works better. You've also got the E stabilization. Now I wouldn't necessarily recommend, I've never used it actually, so I'm just doing it as a bit of a let's have a look type thing, but you've also got that as well, so E stabilization to the video as well. Generally I'd say if you're going to be doing stabilization to footage, do it in post so you've got control of it in your in your editor, in your Premiere Pro or whatever. But I'll give it a try just to find out what that's like. I'm not expecting it to be any good, but we'll just have a quick look at it. So first of all, I've got it trained on at some Lego figures over there. The lens is at 200mm, and it's also got the XE teleconverter turned on, the 4K crop, so it's cropped onto the sensor as well. So it's the longest reach I can get with this setup, basically. So firstly, at the moment I've got everything turned off. I've got the image stabilization of the lens turned off, and I've got the image stabilization of the camera turned off. Now let's just take a shot, and then firstly I'm going to try tapping the lens just lightly. And now I'm going to try wobbling the tripod. So there you go, that's with image stabilization turned off. Now I'm going to turn the image stabilization on the lens. Now sometimes that doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to, and this is a top tip for you, you have to actually put it into autofocus and focus and then turn the autofocus back off to get the lens stabilization to work, because for some reason it doesn't always automatically turn on when you turn it on. What I often do is I put my head against the lens. As you're turning it on and off, you can hear the image stabilization motors like start to work. You can hear a little noise. So that is a good top tip for you. If it's not working, if your lens image stabilization isn't working, try turning the autofocus on and off, and it sort of wakes the lens up and it starts to work. Sometimes you have to turn the camera off and back on again to get it to work, but that's a top tip for you. So now we've got the image stabilization of the lens turned on. I'm going to put it into mode 1, which is the non-panning mode. And now let's do another quick test. So firstly, let's tap on the top of the lens. I'm going to tap exactly the same force as what I did with the last one. Now let's give the tripod a bit of a wobble. It's really hard to tell when you're looking at the screen, but that looks like it's doing a really good job. Let's just do a slightly harder wobble now. That's really quite a vigorous wobble. So there you go, that's that one. I could see a little bit of a wobble there. That's that clip. Now let's try it with the camera's IBIS turned on. Now in order to get this to work, another top tip for you, you have to turn the camera off, then you have to turn the lens stabilization off. Now when you turn the camera back on, it should automatically switch over to the camera's IBIS. So I've got my shortcut set up for my IBIS on my camera as the front button here by the lens. So I'm just looking at it and it's checking that it's turned on, and it is turned on. So let's do the same test again. So now this is with the camera's IBIS running. So firstly, let's tap on the top of the lens. And straight away that doesn't look like it's doing as good a job as the lens IS. I can tell that just from this. It's going to be easier when I look at the footage, obviously. Now let's give the camera a wobble. Yeah, that really looks like it isn't doing a very good job. So this is exactly why I'm doing this test, to find out if the IBIS is going to work with a long lens setup like this. And from looking at that, it doesn't look like it does. Now I'm just going to quickly turn the IBIS off, and now let's make sure it's all turned off. Just for kicks, I'm going to go into the menu, and if you go to the camera icon, and then it's the third of the fourth down, you can find the stabilizer option, and I've got the operation mode turned off, and I'm going to turn E stabilization on. Now I'm not expecting this to be any good, but just for the sake of argument, let's just have a look at it and have a look at what the E stabilization is like in the GH5. So everything else is turned off. The camera lens stabilization is turned off, and the IBIS is turned off, but the E stabilization is turned on. So let's try one more go. So now tap on the top of the lens and give the camera a little bit of a wobble. There you go. So that's everything covered. So let's I'm just going to pop those into my editor now, and we'll have a look and see which one wins. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Lenz IS, but yeah, let's have a look at it and find out.